Here's one that's ridiculously overdue. Let's open Wun-Dar. Finally. So I ordered this back when Mattel Creations did their made-to-order Wun-Dars. Part of the reason I wanted it was because I thought it would be cool. This was like a chance at a legit cost to own a part of like history, to own an urban legend of sorts, right? There's this huge idea that this was a promotion from Wonder Bread, where you would keep receipts and then like turn them in, and then you'd be given a He-Man, and then it turned out that He-Man was nothing but like a He-Man with his hair painted brown. And then now I've heard, this is crazy, this has reached a status that is wild to me. They call him Wun-Dar to play off the idea about the Wonder Bread promotion. Then they backtrack that. Some of the same channels that have said this is actually a thing have then backtracked it and said, no, it's not actually a thing. Didn't actually happen. Here's the real story. And so at this point that we've played with legend and then possibly proven fact that maybe it did happen, and then possibly proven fact that it didn't happen, and you can spam the comment section if you want and tell me all about it. The fact of the matter is this: whether we prove it one way or the other, at this point, it no longer matters. Because he is the name, at this point, Wun-Dar, no longer really applies to Wonder Bread He-Man. It's more like a wondrous origin. Like, it's all rumor, speculation, information, but scattered and difficult to prove and difficult to verify information. And then over time, it took on its own legend. And whatever the truth of it is now, it no longer matters. Wun-Dar is now an accepted, in-depth part of canon, both inside the actual lore of He-Man and Masters of the Universe, as well as outside in the real world. And it is crazy. And this was a chance to own a small piece of that legend, to have an urban legend of sorts on the shelf without having to go out of my way to find one like graded or something and have somebody claim that it was such a thing and charge you like $500 or something, and then figure out that the hair was just painted or it's some sort of counterfeit, or track down the classics version, which is also ridiculously expensive. This guy cost $40 made to order. I just had to wait to get it. And then when I got it, it was like 100 other things we were going over, so I never opened it. And I don't open things until I do a video, which actually brings up the question, what happened? I think I lost a couple videos on the channel, and I don't know how. I remember opening the cartoon He-Man and cartoon Beastman, but the videos don't seem to exist on the channel anymore. I did a video a little while back, and I was going to reference them, and I did. And then I went looking to put in the annotation or whatever, and the video is gone. But I know for a fact that I recorded that. I edited that. I posted that. I don't know what happened. Weird. Let's open Wun-Dar. Okay, so first off, the box that it came in, Pretty cool. These boxes from Mattel are both really awesome and a bit of a hassle. Because you got to figure out whether or not you want to keep them. And if you want to keep them, you got to figure out how you would keep them. Because they're boxes. They take up space. And there's no way around that. This is really cool artwork. But in the end, that's what it is really cool artwork. I've gotten to the point where I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to break these boxes down. Cut the sides off because there's nothing going on the sides. And then I'll probably do a type of... I'll probably get a picture frame and use all of these and kind of make like a really cool cardboard-esque background thing. I don't know. I'm going to figure something out because I don't necessarily want to lose the art. But I can't just be keeping 100 boxes all over the place either. I simply don't have the space for something like that. Let's open him up. Pull off the top. Take this out. There he is. Let's readjust, move a little closer here. So, right about there is fine. He's got the standard packaging, blister card. He doesn't have one of those slip backs, so I'm going to have to cut him off of there in order to open him, which means I'm going to have to be very careful because I believe the back of his card is something that I don't want to lose, like without a doubt. He is really cool, actually. For being something so ridiculously simple, I'm going to be interested to open him up and check him out. So on the back, oh my gosh, that is fantastic. I mean, that is just unbelievably good. Like, first off, he's fighting the Skeleton Warriors, which is awesome. I've got to get me a Skeleton Warrior pack. I just gotta, man. And this girl back here, I want that. I don't know when or how or if they will do it. We've got the bottoms for her now. The bottom part is crafted. We've got that because we got a Hiss. Hiss came with it. Lady Slither. Lady Slither came with it. Sorry. So Lady Slither came with it. So we've got that part that we could do now. And then aside from that, we've got the arms because these are really just Tila arms. And you could probably get away with the She-Ra head and do red hair. And then all they have to worry about is they pretty much got to sculpt the breastplate, which is like a fur, kind of like a kind of like Baylit from Conan. If you look at the early Conan years, Baylit, what she wore, that's pretty much what she wears. And they've got it very close already. We just need the last part of her sculpted, and then they need to put it out because this is awesome. If I could put some Skeleton Warriors, Wun-Dar, and her all in the same spot, I definitely would. Let's open him. Well, would you look at that? It's He-Man. It's He-Man with brown hair. It's He-Man. Yes, this is an egregious reuse. But it does go to show you what paint jobs mean. I mean, the simple changing of colors alone does make this guy feel like he's a different character all of a sudden. I mean, just to compare, let me walk over here and get him. He-Man. Like, we now have He-Man standing here alongside Wun-Dar. And you could argue, while these two guys are very similar, do you get what I'm seeing? Like, change the armor. Change the colors a little bit. And you can see why this line has lasted as long as it has. And then, go further from that. Give him an axe, which is more like a hatchet. and a sword, which is more like a basic combat sword here in Eternia. He doesn't have any kind of special weapon. He has the weapons that he can use. The weapons that he finds at his disposal. He's not He-Man. He doesn't have the great mythical sword and the giant crazy battle axe. He may be built, but he doesn't have the power of the universe. He's wearing armor to protect himself. He does look a little bit different. Not by too much, but enough that you notice it. Like, this is why the line lasted as long as it did. And it's why it still gets away with it today. Is because in barbarian fantasy, sometimes the small details between one character and another, and the storytelling, the visual storytelling that's done by weapons alone, can really define what it is you're looking at. He's wearing black armor. Probably just some basic stuff that he found. Like, in terms of his gauntlets, they're not gold or like bronze or anything like that. Maybe there's some sort of iron. And they're painted black. He has what he has, right? He's got black boots. They're not anything special. They're just black boots. And they're all the way up black too. So they don't have like this fur top. And that's what it's trying to do here, is that his boots are more complete, if you were to ask me. I think that's what they're trying to sell on the idea. When they don't color them all the way in, I think you're supposed to ignore that this is horsehair. Or maybe it is black horsehair. Maybe it is something to that extent. He wears armor to protect himself because he's not He-Man. He's not indestructible. A blade to his tummy is the end of this dude. Brown hair, doesn't seem like much, but it makes a difference. Every little part of his paint job changes who he is. Now, he did come with a comic, and I haven't read it yet. I just kind of flipped through it, and I'm interested to read it, but I'll be honest, in the small little flip through that I did, it feels like this is just Savage He-Man until he gets the armor. And there's something about that that does bother me a little bit. Because, like, if it was going to be Savage He-Man, why didn't he come with his spear and things like that? If you're going to sell me on the idea via the mini-comic, then it needs to correspond a little bit more towards it. Like, in the mini comic, he literally is like he's got an axe and whatnot. See, he's got like the axe, the double-sided axe. He doesn't have that. He doesn't come with that, so that's not him. He's barefoot. That's not him. He uses a spear, like just a spear, basically the entirety of the comic, and then throughout the course of the entire thing, after he does a bunch of stuff, his spear gets broken, he gets an armor, and then they give him a ray gun, because, like, of course they do. Like, that doesn't, maybe it makes sense as we go through it. But to me, it doesn't feel like the mini-comic is matching up with the storytelling that I see in the character. I don't see it. And now I almost feel like we're missing a stage, like they need to re-release this dude with a different weapons pack. Or we need, like, the spear, because now it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like this guy is the guy that's in this comic. It just, it doesn't feel right. It's a real possibility that's an overreaction. I'll admit to that. 100% I'll get behind that. I'll tell you that it makes 100% that I'm reading into it more than I should. But, as I've said many times, these are avatars of the imagination. The artwork is supposed to spark an idea, right? It's supposed to tell you, this is it. This is the story. And then if you include a mini-comic, you should expand on that concept. If you're going to show me Savage He-Man and everything like that, that's probably what he should be. If you're going to show me this guy and show me this artwork, this beautiful artwork, this fantastic masterpiece right here, if you're going to show this to me, and you're going to show me him battling skeleton warriors, and he's alongside this archer lady who looks really cool, like a rogue archer lady. Maybe she's got like a small blade, and she's got the bow and the arrow, and she's with him. Give me that story. That's what I wanted. That's the story. Right there. This. Look, they're in like a cave, like old, like town built inside of a cave type of thing. There's a bunch of skeletons because of necromancy or whatever, and he's fighting skeletal warriors, and he's got the girl behind him that's like throwing out arrows, and when somebody gets too close, she's like stabs the skeleton or whatever. Like, this is some straight up Conan the Barbarian stuff. This is barbarian fantasy. When I looked through this, it doesn't feel right. It feels like there's another comic that leads us into this, and we never got it. And that does bother me a little bit. But it's probably the biggest gripe that I have with the character. Oh, my dog wants to go outside. So here's the thing. I like him. I think it's fantastic. As I said before, the reason that I got him in the first place was because I wanted to be able to put this rumor, this legend, this urban legend on the shelf, and I got him. So there's no reason for me to complain when it comes to the figure. But the presentation that was given by Mattel, the storyteller that looked at this artwork and then crafted this, or even if they were being written at the same time, you needed more planning in your department here than what we got. You needed more. Otherwise, why is the back of this card this, when maybe it should have been this guy fighting this blue monster thing? Why? Like, what is it? What happened in the planning stage that seems to have altered the concept so far? And like I said, I could be reading into something that really doesn't need to be read in like this. Because it doesn't matter. In the long run, it doesn't matter. It's just a little thing that I can come in here and be like, yeah, you know, I'd have done this different. And that's 100%. I'd have done that different. But for what it's worth, I now have Wun-Dar on the shelf. And I'm not going to complain about that at all. Let me get out of here.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.